do we believe that the future is AI native CRM, right? So that Salesforce, HubSpot, typical system of records that are managed by people will kind of go away, and then AI will be managing everything, including the system of record?
That's a good question. And I have not put a lot of thought into it, but I will share with you that actually I had a very similar conversation with Jeroen Paul, who is the founder of Spiff. I actually just did a podcast with him. It's coming out tonight, actually at 6 p.m. And one of the things that he said in that episode, spoiler alert, is he said that no one should be starting a SaaS company anymore. He said that everyone should be starting an AI company because you're going to be building software that's going to have an AI component to it. And essentially, if you're just building SaaS, you're probably going to get leapfrogged by someone that's doing that with, mixing in a bit of AI, right? And so I think that's what came to my mind when you asked, are we going to have an AI-driven CRM? I had never actually thought of that. But as you asked that, my brain immediately went towards yes. Now, does that mean that we're going to get rid of Salesforce, get rid of HubSpot? Probably not. It probably means they're going to become AI-driven in many ways. And I think we're actually starting to see this all coming together in my head now, because I actually had not thought of that. So it's a great question. But I think we're actually seeing the starting point of that, right? And the way that this evolution tends to happen in software is that you'll see startups that come out with sort of single or sort of sole purpose products like Win AI or Cybele, the ones that I'm actually working with on a couple of them, right? So, they're doing things like analyzing your calls and then trying to update your CRM automatically, and they're using AI for that. And so today, that starts out as a product that you would buy and integrate into HubSpot or Salesforce. But where does that go in a year or 2 years or 3 years? Well, they probably get acquired by HubSpot and Salesforce, and they build it in natively. And the answer to your question is that we probably end up using AI-driven CRMs. Yeah. So I would say yes, but it also depends on what you are using to define that. But I would, assuming that what you mean with that question is, are our CRMs going to be largely powered by AI? I think that's inevitable. Everything is going to be largely powered by AI. But that doesn't mean there won't be humans tinkering around in there doing stuff. I think everything, when we talk about AI, we tend to jump to the worst, and we assume that like everyone's out of a job and we got these new tools and we're all gone. But there will be elements of that, and there will be elements of jobs that disappear forever. But there's always humans using tools, right? And that tends to be how history has manifested itself. And I think it will continue that way going into the future. But there will be areas where there's work that we used to do that we no longer need to do. But what that does is it frees us up to focus on other things, right? So if we have an AiSDR, for example, that is, sending out our emails or drafting our emails or pulling together our lists and finding our target accounts, like it just gives us now more time to actually talk to people, right? More time to maybe get on demos or discovery calls. And so all of a sudden you can do more with less. And so I'm going a little bit off topic of the question there, but I think that is the way to think about it going forward, is that we are able to do more with less. Will salespeople be replaced? I know this wasn't your question, but I want to throw it in. I think sales teams will just be smaller, right? And sales teams will become more efficient. And so could you say that some salespeople lost their job? Yeah, kind of, right? But it's also no different than adding self-checkout booths at the grocery store, and now they can operate with fewer cashiers. It's no different than putting in the ATM machines where you used to have. You ever go into the bank, by the way? You see how many windows they have in an old bank and how many people are there? Usually 1 or 2, and there's like 10 windows, right? At an old bank. That's because the ATM put the rest of them out of their job.
Yeah.
So they probably weren't super happy about that when it happened. But now what does it do in the long run? Is it effectively, it should reduce the cost of banking, which should reduce the customer's cost. Now, I can't say that they've done that for us, but that's effectively what it should do. I went off topic there, but
that's totally, like, those are all great comments, and thank you so much for sharing, right? We already actually see that kind of HubSpot and Salesforce are doing a huge push in AI, right? So HubSpot announced their Breeze AI, right, which is around data analysis, etc., at Inbound just kind of a week ago. And then Salesforce announced Agentsforce just a week ago at Dreamforce. And there's a lot of talk about Etio, right, which is kind of a new category, kind of CRM. I haven't tried it myself, but the feedback that I heard is pretty cool. And I would love to see kind of the CRM market transformed with AI, right? It's yet to happen, but kind of very, very curious about that. Let's go to the next